Okay, Death Note Kill Within might be a game changer. I'm gonna tell you why. I might be crazy for thinking this, but I mean, hey, hear me out. So, for starters, Death Note is getting this game, right? No one expected. If you would have said at the beginning of this year, hey, you expected a Death Note game, or you looking forward to, or what if? No one was really saying that. I mean, if you are the one person like out of a million or whatever that was like, man, I really hope Death Note gets a game soon. Like, okay, you know what? You win, buddy. Let me know in the comments, but I know your ass is lying. But that's not the point. The point is, no one's seen this coming. It came out of nowhere, left field, out of space, whatever you want to say. It dropped nowhere. The game literally drops tomorrow as of me making this video. Hopefully if I drop it in time. But anyway, when you have series like Akame ga Kill, Gurren Lagann, Tokyo Ghoul, any other series that I'm showing on screen, when you think about it, and even though Death Note is an older series, what does a lot of these series on screen have in common, if you're aware of any of these? But what do they have in common with the Death Note series? I'll give you a few seconds. Alright, time's up. They're all not active. They're not currently running. They are very old series. Like, a lot of people probably don't really know what Akame ga Kill is. Akame ga Kill was a pretty good anime, to me at least. I mean, it had one season. I'm very disappointed that it wasn't longer. And I'm also disappointed with some aspects of the show compared to like the manga, but that's a different case. The point is, if Akame ga Kill got a game in the year 2025 or some shit like that, right? You can't tell me, oh, well, because it's an older series, like no one wants to buy it. But that also, some of the things I want to bring up in this video is how older games could work and also how they wouldn't work. And well, let's start off with this. One, you can't tell me that just because a series isn't really like popular anymore or anything like that, that if they made it a kick-ass game, like if you told me, hey, or if I told you rather, what if they made a AAA like Gurren Lagann game? It was like a freaking open world, whatever type shit, and you're going through the series and playing the game, right? And doing some wild shit. You would probably be like, well, one, you're crazy for thinking they'd ever do something like that. But two, if they made a game like that and it was amazing, people would probably play it, regardless of if it was popular or like not. Even if it was expected or not, they would probably play it because one, you're getting people that were fans of the series back then, but two, you're getting people that probably never even heard of the series, but if the game looks cool enough, they'll play it and buy it. And so that's kind of a thing of, it might not even matter of if it's currently going or not. To an extent, it makes more sense to make an anime game off of a series that's currently running, or, you know, is still popular. Like, obviously it makes sense to make a JJK game around the hype of JJK. Unfortunately, Curse Clash didn't really live up to a lot of people's expectations. Nothing wrong if you love the game, but it just didn't. However, in Fairy Tail's case, right, they made a game also just like JJK, and it's not like in the sense of gameplay, but they also released a game like shortly after Fairy Tail ended. I think Fairy Tail ended in 2019. They made a game like 2020, literally a year later. They were right on that shit. So that doesn't, even though they make a game closer to the series' relevance, that doesn't necessarily dictate that the game's going to be well. So if the game is going to be kind of mixed regardless of the time frame, it really wouldn't matter to an extent as long as the game is good. And that's always been the problem with anime games, where it's like, look, there's so many good series you can make games on. We just want them to be good games. Otherwise, don't even bother wasting your time. Now, granted, there's always a mixed bag when it comes to doing shit like that, because if you make an anime game off of a series that's not as popular or not many people know about, it's probably not going to be on their radar. And you could waste a bunch of resources making a game, even trying to make it pretty solid, that people aren't even going to care for. And so that's always like the back and forth, or the little wire that you're standing on, trying to decide if it makes sense or not. This Death Note game probably doesn't have that much of a budget, I'm gonna be honest with you. It looks like it's a very little simple, you know, kind of party game, Among Us style, but anime edition, which makes sense. Will they'll probably try to get some money off it, like microtransactions, shit like that? I don't know. I haven't really looked that much into the game, to be honest. Again, no one was expecting this. But my point kind of is, they do a lot of this with not even just anime games, but series in general. Like a lot of shows that we watch, like think of Disney Channel shit or freaking Cartoon Network, like regular show, all that shit, Adventure Time, whatever, like even Disney movies, whatever you can think of, Resident Evil, a lot of older things, whether it's anime, movies, games, whatever, they'll go back because I'm gonna be honest, sometimes these days they're running out of ideas. They're like, well shit, what was popular back then? And they want to bring it back. That's why you get remakes. Like look at a series like Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII came out years ago, and it was a popular, beloved series, and always was a popular, beloved series. People were still playing it even years after the game came out. They'd either go back and experience it the first time or go back and replay it. But they decided, hey, this is a popular series, we're going to remake it in modern era, and like look at the Final Fantasy remakes. So they did the same thing with Resident Evil. Like older games people love, they do remakes of it. They're doing it with Disney, with remaking or retellings of like older Disney movies, but doing live action, and those are hit or miss. You know, that's a whole other topic. But the thing is, imagine if they capitalized off that and made a bunch of anime games, but good ones. Don't just half-ass it. I know they like to go make older games on those series, and some of them might even have games, but they're typically mobile games, if anything. And I'm not saying all mobile games are bad. I mean, I play some mobile games myself, but they don't really hit the same, you know, as a good, well-developed like console game, shit like that. Like, I don't know. Like if a Kami Got Killed got a game, it could be some hack and slash game, maybe it could be a small little fighting game with a small roster, whatever. But the fact is, if they made a game and it was well designed and actually, you know, well made and people would enjoy playing it, people would buy it and play it. Rather just for, you know, if it's popular, people are going to get into it. And if anything, then people might go back and watch the series or be like, oh, I remember this. Like you kind of hit both demographics of people that remember the series and want to come back to it, but you also get people that are brand new to the series and this is their first time with it. You know, that's like I said with remakes, that's some people's experience with Final Fantasy. Some people I know, they've played the remakes, never knew shit about the original 7 or heard about it, but never played it. After they played that, they're like, you know what, I want to go back and play the original, you know? So shit like that, if it's made well, it can do well. The problem is, there's a lot of series, you also have to go off the fact of if a series was that popular back then, or, you know, and again, it doesn't really matter to an extent. If the game is good enough, people will play it, even if they don't know shit about it. But the thing is that's always a risky thing, because it's like, why would we focus on making an older game? And let's say, again, I bring as an example, let's say Tokyo Ghoul. While Tokyo Ghoul did have a game and it was disappointing as fuck, and I don't even want to talk about that again, but they'll make mobile games all day. Regardless of that, if Tokyo Ghoul came out with an amazing, like, high quality game, almost on the level of like, think of like maybe a Sparking Zero or a Fighters, or well, I don't really see Tokyo Ghoul being a Fighters, but you get my point. If it was a well polished, amazing quality game, people would be talking about it, people would be buying it, people would be playing it. Now, would it be like as high selling as like Dragon Ball? No, that's the reality. Is series like that, they wouldn't make that kind of money, which is unfortunate. Because of that logic, is that's probably why we wouldn't get any games like that. But even if a game like that wasn't as top quality as Dragon Ball, if they made it a pretty good game, they'd still make money. But again, with business, they are about making profit, no shit, right? So if I'm like looking at numbers or trying to make a game, I would love to make a Tokyo Ghoul game if I was in one of those businesses. But at the same time, I'd probably have an advisor that'd be like, look here, dumbass, you probably want to make a Tokyo Ghoul game. And yes, we could make one, but it might not sell that well. Or we could make a mediocre series, or we can make a mediocre game off of a series that is hype right now, and people will buy it regardless if it's good or not. Damn, how the fuck did that happen? All right, look, again, if you loved that game, nothing wrong with it. You know, I enjoyed playing it, but it could have been so much more, especially with how that series is. But regardless of that point, all I'm saying is, would you guys, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like, you know, with Death Note being a relevant thing, not really relevant, but yeah, there's a lot of factors with that back and forth. We could argue this all day, and I want to discuss this with you guys in the comments. Like, if some of you believe, you know, yeah, they could make these older series and make them good games and people would buy it, you know, cool, put your point down. But if you're also of the opinion of, yeah, I don't think that would work, bro, and we're more likely to get like a Fire Force game, if anything, over like a Kami Got Kill or, and again, these are just examples. I'm not saying that I'm like it has to be those series that I'm into. I'm just saying anything old could come back, and if made well, could do well. But the thing is it even worth it? Would they do it? Like, why do that when we could make another One Piece game? Why do that when we could just try to make another JJK game and hopefully make it better? You know, I don't expect another My Hero One's Justice right now. They might wait until after the end of the series and then make another one. But right now they don't even have to. They're making bread with My Hero Ultra Rumble, which is a really good game, honestly. It really is. But besides that, you guys let me know in the comments, would you be down to see a lot of older series come back as newer games? Or would you think it's a waste of time and just focus on making new series? Or you're also in the opinion where, hey, if it's made well, regardless if it's an older or newer series, people will buy it. I'm the Aggressive Rogue. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and back to the shadows I go.